Welcome to Mic Check with Nikita, culture, conversation, clarity we all need. I'm your host, Nikita Gayaram. Now that we are officially in 2026 and I've released a few episodes, I wanted to take out the time to formally introduce myself, the podcast, the vision behind it, and the making of it all. So who am I? How did I come to be? And where did I feel like, or why did I feel like I could build a platform or have a platform where I can start a podcast like this? I am the daughter of two very influential pioneers of the community, Mr. Dheeraj Gayaram, a Guyanese, and Ms. Bindu Kohli, a Punjabi. My dad, Dheeraj, is the top dancer of our community. He is the longest reigning dancer in our community. He's been performing for now over 50 years. And I may sound biased when I say that he's the top dancer of our community, but when we look at all that he's done over the years and we actually look at his achievements and accolades, it's a pretty factual statement, if I do say so myself. My dad has been dancing since the age of 9. He was born and raised in Guyana, and he started performing in Guyana itself. When he was younger, he had the amazing opportunity to perform and learn from the late, great Birju Maharaj, specializing in Kathak. My dad also learned Odissi. He then went on to learn Punjabi folk dance, Bhangra, and even chutney as it came to be. My dad is where I get my dancing genes from. My dad is someone who has entered and won over 150 competitions. He has performed in front of so many dignitaries, prime ministers, presidents, politicians, business people, anyone that you could really name from back in the day. And he is also just completely thriving at his age still, and performing still, actually. It's been over 50 years, but he's still performing at very select events, and really trying to show to our community and our younger generation that as long as you have the passion for it, you can go and keep going with it no matter the age. My dad is not just a dancer as a performer, he is a teacher. He founded the Gungur's Dance Academy 31 years ago, the year that I was born. And he's been teaching so many young men and women the craft of Kathak and Odissi, and just giving them a place where they can feel at home. He also is an event promoter. He's been putting on shows for as long as I can remember, and bringing together our West Indian community and giving a voice also to a lot of our local artists that don't really get a chance to be out there as much. For me, my favorite memory of my dad, or actually my most favorite achievement of his actually, is when he performed at the Bollywood Awards. I don't remember the exact year to be precise, but my dad performed at the very first Bollywood Awards that was held here in New York City, technically in Nassau County at the Nassau Coliseum, where he was on stage performing in front of the amazing Bollywood celebrities such as Shah Rukh Khan, Amir Khan, Salman Khan, and so many more that were in the audience that got to see his performance. He did a traditional Kathak dance to an Irish composition called River Dance. The reason why that's my fondest memory of his is because, one, he really was acknowledged for the work that he did and the performance that he had, because my dad was actually featured in the Time magazine, with his picture right next to Shah Rukh Khan and Amir Khan, and his picture was actually bigger than theirs, which was really cool for me to see as a child. But it was also the very first time in New York that a West Indian person was recognized on a big stage like that in a South Asian community. So for me, That is my favorite memory. And that just goes to show like how basically the legacy that I come from in terms of my dad. Now, when we go to my mom, Ms. Bindu Kohli is a media and TV personality. She is someone who has been doing basically what I'm trying to do right now since before I was even born. In 1991, my mom became the TV host for one of the only South Asian channels that was around at that time, ITV. She basically was the host for their Saturday live show. And then in 1994, after having a few years on her belt of being a TV host for ITV, she founded her own production show, which was called IET, Indian Entertainment TV. And her slogan was, IET, the show that's all about you. That show was also featured on ITV. And it was, for those who have seen my parents on TV and my mom on TV, you know that was a really big deal for the entire community, because that was the first time that there was a West Indian representation along with the South Asian community. So we were able to bridge the gap at that point, or my mom was able to bridge the gap between both communities. Through IET, my mom was very, very fortunate to be able to interview people like Shah Rukh Khan, Salman Khan, Amir Khan, Amitabh Bachchan, and Aishwarya Rai Bachchan. At that time, Aishwarya Rai. She's also gotten to interview Hrithik Roshan, Sunny Deol, Bobby Deol, basically having IET on the ITV channel, as well as still doing the Saturday live show for ITV. It really opened up a lot of doors for my mom that made her the really prominent media personality that she is and the TV host that she is. And because of that and her connection with my dad, that helped really bridge the two cultures together, the South Asian and the West Indian community together. My mom is also an event promoter. She is the founder of Bindu Kohli Entertainment. She has done so many events. Her first event in 1994 was with Neelam, and she's gone on to do way more throughout the last 31 years. She's done events with Priyanka Chopra, with Sushmita Sen, with Karishma Kapoor, Shilpa Shetty, Atif Aslam, Udit Narayan. And now coming up on March 27th is going to be Kumar Sanu and Sadhna Sargam. So my mom is fully thriving at her older age as well. And the fact that both my parents are still continuing to do what they love at their age is absolutely amazing. My mom is also a really big pioneer, or a really big advocate for women empowerment. She does an event every March for Women's Month, and she brings a famous Bollywood actor or actress who comes and basically presents awards for those who are doing so much in the community, and only for basically women. So now that I've talked about and given homage to the two people that basically created a legacy, not only for myself, but for the entire community, I'm going to talk about myself a little bit. I am going to tell you about my background. Again, why I felt like I had a platform that I can start this podcast, and where I hope to take this. So, my name is Nikita. I'm 31 years old. I am a professional dancer. I've been performing for now 25 years. For as long as I can remember, I've always been a dancer. My mom always says that she knew that I was going to be a dancer because when she was pregnant with me, every time she would turn on music, I would kick. So her mother's intuition basically kicked in, and she just had this feeling that I was going to be a dancer. And sure enough, as soon as I could walk, I was dancing all the time. I wasn't really walking, I was basically dancing. So I've been a dancer all of my life. I believe it's my God's given talent. It's something that I've always wanted in my life and always will have in my life in some way, shape, or form. My 25 years as a performer has been very fruitful. I've been very lucky to perform for, just like my dad, for many dignitaries like the former president of Guyana, the current prime minister of Trinidad and Tobago, so many Bollywood actors and actresses like Shilpa Shetty, Bobby Deol, Sushmita Sen, so many. And dance has always been in my life up until life kicked in and I graduated college and I had to be an adult. Life basically made it so that dance took a backseat, and it took a backseat until October 2021. The Gungurs Dance Academy was hired to perform for a Raymond Ramnarine and Dylan Adan show, Everybody Loves Raymond, in October 2021. And my dad wasn't able to give that show the time that it needed to curate the choreography for the performances and also be there to supervise. So he asked me to jump in. And that show basically kickstarted dance for me in a different way. I created all of the choreography for the girls to perform. I supervised them the day of the show at the event. I did a little bit of managing backstage as well. And that kind of made me realize that I not only love performing, but I really love production. And that is how Nikita Gayaram production started for me. After that show, I had this idea of creating a whole production company where there could be a dance team that is just being paid to perform for private events, for shows, for tours. Also as a pillar to have a pillar where we could be stage managing those events as well. Creating choreography for people who needed it for weddings, private parties, even for shows itself. And then where they can basically contact me to be hired to perform as well. The next basically year, my plan was, even though I grew up with a lot of the people in the industry, like Raymond, Ravi, Ki, they all kind of just knew me as Bindu and Dheeraj's daughter. They didn't really know me as Nikita. So I really just spent the next year strategizing on networking, making sure that they knew my name, making sure that I was their first point of contact, and kind of just gaining their trust, because as much as I come from a background of family that's been in this industry before I was even born, they haven't seen my work yet. And I basically took a year, gained their trust, and finally December 14th, 2022, I launched NGP, Nikita Gayaram Productions, and that took dance into a different turn for me. It became management, it became production, and it became more so back end or behind the scenes work more than anything else. And I just spent the next 3 years really pushing the company. And I will have to say, and I like to give myself the flowers as well, but we really did thrive, or we really have been thriving. We performed in Guyana. NGP dance team performed in Guyana for Clash of the Titans in front of 35,000 people. We performed in London. We performed in Canada for Reviver 2023 at Caravana. So we not only were a local group or are a local group, we are an international group as well, being hired to perform all over. We also are stage managing a lot of those events as well. So those two pillars really did thrive in the last 3 years. Now that you have that little background of NGP, I'm going to talk about this podcast and why I started it. So any person that comes onto this podcast, I do a little bit of an elevator pitch of my reasons why I wanted to start it. And I started very much from inception of how this little seed was put in my head. Being backstage the last 3 years, being able to see how shows are done, the amount of people that it takes to put on a show, also being in touch with the artists and seeing how much of effort and the amount of people that go get into it when it comes to actually putting out music. It made me realize that our community doesn't really see that. They kind of just see the artist and the song that's being put out, but they don't realize that it takes, or it goes through so many people before things are being actually put out. So I started out with this idea of wanting to show our community the sound engineers, the stage managers, the lighting people, the music producers, the band members, everyone that is really involved in making our artists the brand that they are. And then I performed at a show in Aruba. When I went to Aruba, I met people who are not just West Indian, but they're West Indians that don't live on this side of the world. They live on the other side of the world. And it opened up my horizon to the fact that we have West Indians all over the world. We have a music industry that is so vast, and people that are literally placed in the Netherlands, Fiji, South Africa, Guyana, Trinidad, Suriname, but we're all so siloed and we're not together as a music industry. And then that made me realize that if the music industry is so siloed, then what about every other industry that us as West Indians or us as Indo-Caribbeans are in? Our day-to-day, the amount of hard work that we're putting in our own perspective industries, in our own careers, in our own side hobbies that we have, or our own passions that we have. And with that, I did so much research, and I realized we have women that are in skincare businesses that are helping launch these massive skincare companies that are being sold in Sephora and Ulta. We have women that are being nominated for Emmy Awards for news anchoring. We have women that are coming out with books. And not just women, but we have men that are owning these businesses that are providing us with like import-export of all of our favorite things that come from back home. But we take all of these things for granted, and we're also not giving those people the recognition that they deserve because they're not either from the music industry or from cricket, because let's be real, that's what our industry, our entire community thrives on. So that was what this podcast is meant to be. That is what I hope it is going to be. Where I can highlight the Indo-Caribbean community in such a different light and show that we are people that are all over the world. We are people that are doing so many things that are contributing to a community. We're not just derivatives of the South Asian community. The Indo-Caribbean community is its own culture, and it should be recognized as its own. And that is what the mission is, and that is what I hope to do. We do have a long way. We're only 5 episodes in. This is going to be the 6th. But I really do hope that with views and traction and just getting the message out there, that people can understand that through culture and conversations about our culture, through having the tough conversations, through talking about all of the hot takes, that we can really be proud of our culture and be proud of who we are as Indo-Caribbeans. So that is how I hope to add to the legacy that my parents already created. My parents, like I said, have been in my opinion, and I really do hope for those who do know my parents, that they also see this as well. But they are part of that generation that really did bring us here in America as Indo-Caribbeans and bring our culture here. And I hope that I'm part of that legacy, or I can at least contribute to some degree to this already amazing long legacy that my parents have. So here's to many more episodes. Here's to lots of conversation about culture, lots of conversation about tough things that we should be talking about as a community, and to hopefully add just a positive light to who we are. We don't have to talk about bad things in a negative way. We can go about it in a very positive way and still have these tough conversations, and that's what I hope to bring. So, I'm your host, Nikita Gayaram, and I really hope that you all continue to watch Mic Check with Nikita.